What is up, guys? It is the Sportster Bradley Walker. Happy Friday. Yeah, this is one of those rare weeks where this show isn't on Thursday night. We decided to have a special night on Friday night. Maybe in the future we'll have more on Friday night. This was supposed to be scheduled for Sunday, but we got free to do it tonight, and I didn't want to not do it this week, even though I told you guys last week there would be no show. Well, as we speak, there is a show. I like the way that we've been getting good views on both Facebook and YouTube, so I want to say thank you to everyone out there that has done that. And again, this is the Walker Report. It is part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio, part of NGSC Sports. Guys, please remember the website. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. And guys, also too, we are being shown on Coast to Coast Entertainment. Actually, guys, hang on just a second because I have to send the link to our good buddy there. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. But I wanted to say again, thank you to everyone out there who has helped us get very good showing on both YouTube and Facebook. Again, guys, this is the Walker Report. We are sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com, the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you and adding comfort to your life. And remember, guys, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. And guys, just to be on the note, my friend is just servicing the St. Petersburg, Florida area. She does not have enough staff at this time to service the Clearwater or Tampa Bay area. So again, guys, welcome in live. I am here by myself. I believe that Lewis will be joining me around 9:15, 9:10-ish. Adam, I guess, will be here momentarily as well. So I'm going to hold up and wait for them. It's been a awkward sports week, obviously. You guys watched the Thursday night game last night. The New England Patriots shut out the Atlanta Falcons 25-0. Matt Ryan looked frustrated. He looked frustrated. I'm not going to lie about that. He looked frustrated last night with how everything was going on. So that, I don't know how much longer he can take that, how much longer Falcons fans can put up with that. The offensive line had way too many offside penalties last night. That was not a good result, as they say. So, again, that is interesting to say the least. But I don't anything else that's going on. If you guys do know, I think today on HBO Plus, if you guys have HBO Max, excuse me, the app, the streaming app, today started the King Richard, which is about Richard Williams, the father of Venus and Serena. Myself, I will be watching that. I'm going to take a opportunity to watch that sometime this weekend. I'll be going, guys, to my very first Tampa Bay Lightning game tomorrow night as they play the Devils. It's a 4:00 drop of the puck, but I will be there. This will be my first hockey game this season. The last time I was in Amalie Arena, I was there for a watch party for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. That was the only game the Lightning lost in the Stanley Cup Finals before clinching their second straight Stanley Cup. So I'll be back there watching live hockey where it won't be on a Jumbotron and, trying to watch it on a little square that, would be better to have stayed at home to watch it. So that is that. Guys, real quick, I'm trying to fill air here. I did happen, if you guys get a chance, I saw a movie yesterday called The Miracle Season. If you guys get a chance, take a look at the movie. It stars Helen Hunt as a coach about a girls volleyball team in Iowa City, Iowa. And what happens is they lose their star player to a moped accident. Her name is Caroline Found, if that's the name of the player. She passed away in an accident. Her moped hit a tree she was killed instantly on impact. But the team would then rally around her death to win their second straight state championship in high school volleyball. It's a very good movie. It's a tear-jerking movie. There is a lot of backstory to it. I did some YouTube watching about it, interviews and stuff about, the guy that's still alive. The father in the movie lost his daughter, and then just a week or two later after that, he lost his wife to stage 4 pediatric cancer. So prayers to him for still being here and everything else. But that's pretty awesome. It's a great story. And I happen to think back to another movie that I can't remember the name of the movie. It does star Sean Astin, who of course is Rudy. He's the coach in the movie. It's about a high school baseball team in Iowa that the school is getting shut down due to budget cuts. They go on to win the state championship in their division. And I was thinking to myself tonight, like, wow, they must grow athletes in Iowa. And of course, we all know that is where the Field of Dreams Stadium is also in Iowa. So, where the MLB played their game last year between the Chicago White Sox and New York Yankees, I believe that there are players in the MLB and other people that are trying to buy the field where they will have a game there either every year or every other year. If I'm the MLB, I would have it there every other year. That's just me. I would think that, that would be how I would look at it. That way you don't have it get old real quick. Because if you have a game there every year, that will be definitely tough. Oh, geez Louise. Okay. I forgot. Oh, man, I would need to do that, right? But again, that is how it all breaks down. Guys, I even forgot to send the link to Adam and Lewis. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Jeez Louise. But anyway, guys, like I said, take a look at that movie called The Miracle Season. Like I said, it's a very interesting movie starring Helen Hunt as the coach of the team she has her own issues after the player passes away, of dealing with losing a player. Of course, what happened is in the movie is you have, over 4,000 people attended this young girl's funeral at the time being. But yeah, it comes down to the fact that it's a very tear-jerking movie. There's everybody.
I've been listening in, so I haven't missed anything.
Okay, cool. If you get a chance, I would definitely take a look at that movie.
Okay.
Again, if I always wonder to myself with that movie and the one about the baseball team is I wonder if they grow athletes in Iowa, because you think that there'd be too many athletes in the state of Iowa, but there's been a lot of real life sports movies that are made based off of events that have happened in the state of Iowa. So that's definitely. I happened to be watching a YouTube clip yesterday. I think it was sports movies based off of actual events, and that was on the list. Now, Rudy was also based on that list. We all know that was actually a true story about Dan Rudiger at Notre Dame. We all know the story of him making the team in his senior year and getting to play the last game of the season. So yes, that was on that list too. I forget what the other movies were that were down on the list, but those
Miracle.
Miracle was not on there. I'm surprised because that was based on an actual event.
Yeah, that's the best sports movie.
I think we've discussed it might be the greatest sports moment of all time. I don't think anything ranks above that.
Not really.
I can't think of anything that would supplant that as being the greatest underdog story. I think
it's the greatest sports moment of all time. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, what it did for our country and what it did for the world. Yep. I mean, kind of, it was the kickoff to the end of the Soviet Union.
end of the Cold War.
Yeah.
Ending that way.
Let's say, because that happens in February, and then in
Yep.
November, Reagan is elected, and then, 10 years later, the Soviet Union is no more.
Nope, it is.
Well, and then I guess in between, you the beginning of the defections,
right? Correct.
With Sergei and the Stastny brothers coming over in the mid 80s, 84, 85.
And in case you guys are wondering what we're talking about, if you don't know, we're referring to the Miracle on Ice that happened in Lake Placid in 1980 during the Winter Olympics, where the United States was playing the Soviet Union. At the time, the Soviet Union was the best team in the world in
By
hockey.
far and away. By far and away.
They blew out, I think they played China or Japan.
All-Stars.
They beat them like 11-0. I mean, it was a blowout.
The NHL All-Stars.
NHL All-Stars. They beat us 10-5 at Madison Square Garden.
3.
Yeah, before we even got to the Olympics. So
yeah.
And then of course we ended up beating them. What was the final? It was 3-2, right? Was that the final?
4-3. We beat them 4-3, and then we beat Norway 4-2 or 3-2.
Yep.
3-2.
A lot of times people will actually think back to when that
was
the gold
Everyone
medal
thinks
game.
that wasn't the gold medal game. That was the bronze medal game.
Correct. That was the playing game to get into the gold medal game. Yep.
Whoever lost that game was the bronze medal.
Correct.
Recipient.
And the Soviet Union did win the bronze medal. I don't forget who they beat in the bronze medal game.
I think that they just automatically received the bronze medal.
Oh, okay.
Because I believe it was the Final Four was Norway and whoever or maybe that was how that works.
I want to say I think they beat Sweden or they beat somebody.
Something like that, yeah. And then they played for the bronze.
I thought we played Finland in the gold medal game. I could be wrong though. Maybe
it was Norway. I thought it was
Norway.
Yeah.
Look it up. I'm curious on how. Yeah, I'm curious on. I thought it was Finland that we beat, but I could be wrong. It could have been Norway.
Here we go. 1 second.
I know the Soviet. Like I said, we beat the Soviet Union in what would have been the semifinal game. If you want to get technical with terms, it would be the semifinal game. Also, guys, back to that movie. In the championship game, the team that lost the player was down 2 sets.
You're right. It was the Finns.
It was the Finland team. Okay. They played Finland in the gold medal game. Okay.
And they won 4-2.
4-2. Okay.
Yep. Sorry, but I thought that was Norway.
Oh no, you're good. Look, Lewis is here. Cool.
Yo,
hey,
what's going on,
he
sir?
forgot the link, so I was late too.
Yeah, I forgot to send the link out to everybody tonight. So.
No, I saw it.
I was.
But the thing, if you're wondering too, the movie, The Miracle Season, they were down 2-0 in high school or in high school, actually in all volleyball, indoor volleyball. You have to win 3 sets to win the game. They were down 2-0 and won the final 3 sets to win the state championship and go back to back.
Wow. In Florida?
No, this was a movie I saw Lewis yesterday called The Miracle Season.
Oh yeah.
Caroline Found was the player that died. Was killed in a moped accident. And then her team rallied around to win. Again, I didn't know this either. There were 4,000 people that showed up to her funeral. So that's how small of a town they lived in Iowa City. And I was telling Adam before I got on here, there's another movie about a baseball team with Sean Austin, the guy that played Rudy. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of real memorable sports stories in the state of Iowa. You have the Field of Dreams Stadium is also in Iowa. I said, so they must just have like a lot of sports, real events happen in the state of Iowa,
right?
Movies. I mean, it's a miracle how that happens, but they've had a lot of them from the state of Iowa. So you wouldn't think like, oh, Iowa, like really, like that would you wouldn't think about it being a sports state, but it is.
Sports hub.
No, like corn over there, no.
No. I wanted. I was dying when you were when I was dying to get in here when you were
yes.
When you first kicked the show off, and you were talking about playing at the Field of Dreams. I agree. It needs to be every other year or every couple of years.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't
Because-
get dry. They
Yeah,
can't play
but
there every year. They got to
what
play
happens-
there.
It turns into the outdoor game in the NHL.
Exactly.
It's just another hockey game. It's not special. When the Winter Classic was the one and only outdoor game every
Right.
year, then it was
Right.
fun. But then after 5 years, and they started adding the Stadium Series, and now you had 5, 6, 7, 8. It just becomes another hockey game. And if
Correct.
there's no bad weather, then and like what the disaster that was Lake Tahoe last year, where they ended up pushing the game. They ended up stopping the game, playing the other game. No, delaying the other day and playing the first game at midnight Eastern.
Yeah.
When no one was awake to watch it.
Right.
You would think, it's too nice to play today. We had to delay the game. It's too nice to play.
Right.
Yeah.
It's too nice to play hockey outside.
Yeah.
Go figure.
If it was raining, we could play this easily. But
Right.
It's too nice to play. No, we
It's too
can't.
hot.
I like it when it snows during.
I love that the Pittsburgh and Buffalo. That was
Yeah,
a
I
hell of
remember
a,
that.
that was a hell of a hockey game.
Yeah.
That's the only time when it either has to be really, really cold, or there has to be some kind of weather element.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just another hockey game.
Oh, I'm buying my tickets for the Lightning game.
Right.
Weeks. So I will be coming to Tennessee
Sounds
next
good to
year.
me.
I will be in Tennessee next year.
Yeah.
But if you
good to
guys
me.
want to, I don't have a lot of topics. I mean, obviously,
Oh,
'cause
no,
we,
that's cool.
we spend a lot of time talking about the NFL and NCAA.
What I mean-
Right. I didn't know how late you wanted to go tonight. I'm free to game. I'm game to go as long as you guys want to go.
Yeah.
We can go to 11 o'clock if you want.
That's
make it a
kind of what I
2-hour
was
show.
thinking.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Go to 11.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I have, not really. I mean, the LPGA announced their tour schedule.
When do they kick off?
They kick off. Let's see, when is it? I think they're playing as we speak here
Really?
in Florida, in Naples. They're going to be playing for a record total $85.7 million this year.
Wow.
And 34 official events. This is the most that the LPGA has played for in their history.
What are they considered official?
Yeah. So far, 9 tournaments have announced a purse increase for the 2022 season. The Chevron Championship has gone from $5 million, up $1.9 million from 2021. The AIG Women's Open is up $1.3 million to $6.8. So there's been a lot of tournaments that have upgraded their purses, which is good for the LPGA.
It's great news.
For women's golf in general, I think it's a great announcement for women's golf that it's now starting to develop into somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't get a lot of exposure, a lot of attention.
And it doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of times. I mean, I watch it. I got to play with I got to play with an LPGA tour player when I was in high school. She's still on the tour. But she, it's good to, the funny thing is if you watch an LPGA event, it's on the Golf Channel and it's either in the middle of the day or it's late at night where not a lot of people watching. So they have to try to get more eyes on it. They got to try to get more out there.
They cram 3 hours of golf into on a Sunday afternoon at noon in the middle of of a dead space, up against the NFL, and it's
and then of course up against NCAA football and all that stuff too.
Right. I think
and the Mexican Championship.
But no, I mean it's good. It's good that the purses are starting to go up for the LPGA. I know that they've been pushing. Again, they're not. They're going to strive to try to be like the PGA Tour. Unfortunately, they're not going to because nothing against the LPGA, but the PGA, they have too many corporate sponsors. Their tournaments are, I think the Masters and the U.S. Open, I think their purses are like $20 million for the winner.
Easy.
So, I mean, if you think about that, 4 days, you make $5 million a day, you win that tournament. That's
a win.
That's a huge win.
It's a good day at the office. Yeah.
Right.
The LPGA Tour is on NBC on Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4.
There you go. So
and
3
that's
hours.
prime time. That's prime time NFL, man. That's
seeing that. So,
and that's it gets buried by the NFL. And it's not. There's nothing else you can do. I mean, you can't move it.
You get this little minuscule rating of about 0.5%.
Probably they'll probably pull 1.1, 1.2.
If that.
Yeah, on a good day, maybe a 0.8 or a 0.9.
Yeah, you probably get about the same range you would for an NHL hockey game on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and if you don't know too, they're like the Champions Tour. They only play 3 rounds, except their majors are 4 rounds. So they only play 3 rounds. So their tournaments start on Friday,
Saturday, Sunday.
Friday,
Saturday are the qualifying days, and then whoever survives plays on Sunday for the championship. Except their majors then start on Thursday. So they're like the Champions Tour, who they only play 3 rounds unless it's a major.
Makes sense.
So, but I wanted to bring that up that they are going to be playing for more money this year, which is good. That means that's good. Hopefully, again, it's that they get more eyes,
more financial
and financial support for the LPGA Tour. I know I think they had a new commissioner a couple of years ago, and ever since he or she has come on, the tour has gotten better. So that's a good sign that they finally found the right person to brand the tour. That's a good sign. So just wanted to bring that up that the LPGA Tour, I watch it when I can. Obviously, I won't watch it on a Saturday when there's college football, and I'm not going to watch it on a Sunday when NFL football is on unless there's a break in the action.
Yeah, you might flip over there if there's a commercial, check out what's going on. But you're not going to.
Let me ask you guys real quick, because it happened to me here in Florida. I don't know if it happened to you guys in Jersey and in Tennessee. I was watching the Patriot game against the Browns on Sunday. Yes. And midway through the game, they changed it over to the Saints and Titans game. Midway through the action.
I automatically get the Saints and Titans.
You're in Tennessee, so it's you're local.
That's my local game anyway. So no, they didn't.
Sometimes they will do that.
Yeah, when it gets out of hand.
I think at that time it was like 31-7. So maybe that's
it's pretty much out of hand at that point.
Okay.
And they want to get to a more competitive game so that they keep people watching. So you don't flip over to so you don't start channel surfing. That was one thing that they started doing when I was a kid was going away from blowout.
Right. We are more competitive
because people were flipping channels and finding other things to watch. If the game's not, if both games are blowouts, you might as well just watch something else because, this game's already, and it's not like if
might as well watch C-SPAN.
If Cleveland scores a couple of quick goals, or touchdowns, sorry, if Cleveland gets a couple of quick touchdowns, gets back into this thing, it's not like they can't go back to it, but yeah, it's been kind of an NFL thing for the last couple of years here.
The regular media they got their heads up in orifice I can't mention on the air, so I'm not even going to go there. Mainstream media I'm not even going to go there. That's too political. We don't talk politics on this show, so I'm not even going to go there.
Right. That's kind of why I was watching. I had ESPN for about 30 seconds this afternoon. I flipped it. I don't know why this is on ESPN. This doesn't have any place being on ESPN.
What were they talking about? Were they talking about the Rittenhouse trial?
Yeah.
Is that what they were talking about on ESPN?
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is this doing on ESPN?
Exactly.
I was like, nope, I'm not even watching it. I changed channel. I'm like, no. I came here for sports. This is a sports channel. Sports and entertainment. Like, okay, fine. They'll talk about, movies or whatever. That's cool.
Right.
But no place doing that in ESPN.
No. If I want to watch lefty politics, I go watch CNN. If I want to watch righty politics, put on Fox. There are outlets for that stuff, but you don't see them having a breakdown of the third quarter. Sean Hannity ain't out here, Rachel Maddow ain't out here breaking down the third quarter of the Jets and Titans on their programs because it's not the format, it's not the place for it.
Right.
No, and they did, but
that's not the place for it. That's not the format. They have their news and political commentary. They stay in their arena, Sports is, stay in your lane.
The way it is, guys, now they're trying to get the politics into the sports, which really mucks it up. So
yeah, it does. They need to be separated.
Yep.
Stay that way.
Yep.
So that's the point there.
I was gonna say the WNBA is axing single elimination and buys in a new 3-round playoff format. Did you hear about that, Lewis, or is that new to you?
That's new to me.
That's
from up on the site. I didn't get a chance to see it.
That's from thescore.com. The WNBA is implementing a new 3-5-5 playoff format that will begin in 2022. So
okay, cool.
Season coming up. The new format will consist of all 8 playoff teams partaking in a best-of-3 series in the first round. The first 2 games of the first round series will be hosted by the higher-seeded team, while the lower-seeded team will host a decisive third game if necessary.
Yeah.
The second round championship round will be moved to a best-of-5. The higher seed hosting game 1, 2, and potential game 5. So that's how it's going to go. And then, of course, the championship round will be the same format. So they have changed the format from it used to be 1-1-5-5, so now it's going to be 3-5-5. So the WNBA has changed their playoff format.
So in other words, screw the single elimination game.
Yep,
pretty much.
Yeah,
I think
sounds better to me.
I think they should follow the same format in Major League Baseball. That whole single elimination game for the final wild card spot.
Well, I mean, it's different with baseball because you don't want to drag it into the middle of November. I mean, so I have to disagree
cut
on
the
that.
regular season down to 120 games.
Never happened. Never.
I know it won't.
Not a chance.
I know.
Now.
And no, that's not. I agree with you guys. It's never going to happen. They make too much money.
Yeah.
Too much money with the 162 game season.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only NBA article, guys, I have is I guess the NBA GMs are forming an association to support executives amid the concerns about the Trailblazer investigation. I guess the owner of the Trailblazers is in trouble for
inappropriate conduct.
Yeah, inappropriate conduct. I didn't read the whole article about
I haven't heard about it in a couple of weeks, but yeah, apparently he did and said some things that he shouldn't have or something like that. Harassment and stuff. I don't know.
I guess he's been the owner for a long time too.
Yeah.
Quite a while, yes.
So I can look real. I mean, I haven't been paying. It's still early in the season. I haven't really been paying attention to.
I don't usually
standings or anything like that.
Yeah.
I know the Golden State Warriors are off to a hot start. And
but they got the injury bug now.
Oh, who got hurt? I didn't hear any.
Well, there's a couple of the big names. Iguodala is out. I think he has a knee injury. I had the article. Give me a second here, and I'll explain it because this is something that came up early in the day. It looked like they're back to their old self. I mean, Clay's gonna come back. Before the year is over, about Christmas.
I was gonna say. I heard Lewis that he was gonna be back around Christmas time. I would probably venture to say probably the Christmas Day game.
Well, they didn't say this. They didn't say this Christmas. They just said Christmas time. They didn't say what Christmas. So
yeah.
Depends. They could say Christmas 2029. They could say Christmas 2034. They just said Christmas Day. They didn't say a Christmas Day of what year.
That's true.
So
I think I assumed that it'd be this Christmas, but
Yeah. That's what they're assuming, but then again, never assume because if you do, well, you know that.
Right.
Right. All right. So let me give you the article here. This will cooperate. I don't know why you get so slow. Okay. I must have did about 13 articles today. Wow. All right. So, okay. I'll read as follows. Just when we thought the Warriors looking like a full team again, they had 4 of their top players that got the bug. Stephen Curry out with a hip contusion. Draymond Green, right thigh contusion. Andre Iguodala, a sore knee. Otto Porter Jr. with a left foot injury. So that's not a basketball team. That's a mass unit.
I was going to say, the walking wounded.
Yes.
They're a little banged up. I mean, none of those sound too terrible. None of those sound too terribly concerning. Some bruising. Hey, a couple of days to be all right. And they beat Detroit.
The fifth one was called with a hickey, so
well,
not so much. No ACL or MCL tears or anything.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
No broken bones.
Yeah.
Nothing.
As we know of.
Right. Doesn't sound like anything that's going to keep anybody out for a long term, couple of days, couple of games.
Well, at least in the NBA, they tell you what injury it is. Like in the NHL, it's say they have an upper body injury. You never know what the heck they're talking about.
Or my personal fear, an undisclosed injury. What the hell?
Undisclosed injury. Yeah, I love it.
It's an injury, stupid. It can't be undisclosed. It's an injury, but he doesn't want to tell us what it is.
They don't do that in the NHL. They don't tell you what it is. They don't.
Well, we have the right to know. As people who are reporting this stuff, we have a right to know what it is.
I actually watched Urinating Tree say something about that because he was talking about the whole Kyle Beach thing, about how the owners and general managers need to wake up. The culture in NHL needs to change.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
For the fact that to be a GM, you either have to be a former player or know a former player to be a general manager in the National Hockey League. You don't just
know-how.
Come in off the street. You're a GM. Okay, well, no. If you don't know anybody, you're not going to the NHL general manager's office.
And don't forget what's one of the things, know-how.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, you got to know. You have to know.
That's know-how.
Yeah, you got to know somebody to.
Your knowledge of the game, not just you.
Oh yeah, no, exactly.
That's when I know how. Your knowledge.
Yeah,
that's the know-how.
Yeah. So
I know it's not what you know; it's who you know. Not always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I said. You gotta. Yeah, it's. That the culture in the National Hockey League's got to change. We can discuss that because the next topic I have is about the MLB lockout. We'll talk in detail about that. But here are the articles I got for the National Hockey League. One of them is, who's going to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame?
Ooh.
Class of 2020. Here are the candidates. You have Marian Hossa, which obviously Jerome McGinley, Kevin Lowe, I guess. St. Pierre, Doug Wilson, and Ken Holland are the people that are going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. So those are the people that were inducted recently into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Again, it's still early there. Obviously, the Ottawa Senators aren't going to play their next, 10 games or something because of COVID.
I know it's 3 games.
3 games in Ottawa? Yeah, I know it was. Is it 10 players? 10 players that have COVID, I think is what they said. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were going to play the Rangers tomorrow.
And also, too, I don't know if you guys heard, but I guess the people that own the Boston Red Sox, which is the Fenway Sports Group, is in talks to buying the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was a done deal.
Is it a done deal? Okay.
Done deal now.
So who Mario Lemieux, where does that put Mario Lemieux? Was he a minority owner of the Penguins?
Yes.
How does he fit into the whole equation now? Did they buy out the minority owners or they just left them there? Or I don't know how that works.
I don't think he's in any danger.
So that means so if you had any minority ownership in the organization, then it stayed that way. Okay. Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Red Sox. I hate it.
The NHL needs to approve the deal, but other than that,
it's been
it's done. It's a formality.
Yeah. I can't see the NHL denying that deal. I can't fathom.
It had to be the Red Sox, though. Ugh.
Yeah.
It says that the Penguins were given an $845 million validation in October.
Evaluation.
Highest in the league, according to Fenway Sports Group, led by billionaire John Henry, owns the MLB's Boston Red Sox and English football team Liverpool.
Yes.
So now he owns a hockey team as well.
Yeah. The Pittsburgh Red Sox. I hate it.
Well, that's funny that he owns a Pittsburgh team and he's in Boston, doesn't own the Bruins. That's interesting.
Right. They probably weren't up for sale.
Feathers that rubs wrong incorrectly. You bought a team that's not, well, they're not in the same division either because Boston's with the Lightning. So they're not in the same division with
not geographically correct, but
yeah. Is there anything, guys, that surprised you so far in the National Hockey League, again, it's still early in that league too to go ahead and discuss anything as far as power rankings.
No real surprises, really.
No real surprises.
No.
Well,
not yet.
We can all agree that the Arizona Coyotes are tanking for the first overall pick, right?
They're gonna try to go home.
They've got because they're in Glendale right now, but I think after this year
they're going to Quebec.
Oh, speaking of that, well, we're going to talk about I'll leave that for the MLB.
Oh, 2 teams in Quebec then? Wow.
Quebec,
yeah,
going back to the.
They're on their way back to Quebec. You watch.
They've
the government in Quebec has been talking to the NHL already.
Wouldn't be surprised.
They have a facility.
They would be the team.
Atlanta's in the team.
Oh God.
I have heard too that the other 2 teams that have made a bid, Kansas City has made a bid, and so did Houston. Houston's made a bid.
I've heard both. Yeah.
So those
Kansas City had a team, but they became Colorado, then became the Devils.
Yep.
Right.
And Texans had. They have of course Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But they also had a team in the old WHA in Houston.
Right.
That was Gordie Howe's last stop
before he retired.
Yep, for the second time.
Gordie never. He was the Whalers. He was in Hartford.
But he also went to Houston.
Was he playing with the Arrows for a season?
Yes. Yes, he did. Because I think he went there first and then to Hartford.
Right. Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Yeah.
He played 3 seasons in Houston.
3 seasons.
And then he played 3 seasons in Hartford. And then he played 1 more season. He played 1 game in 98 with the Vipers. They were an IHL team.
Yeah, Detroit Vipers.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now Carolina is. Of course, now Hartford is now.
Hartford's in Carolina.
Hurricanes.
I read an article from The Athletic before I came on that I guess the Oakland A's have proposed a Vegas site for their team.
Have they?
Well, surprise.
So I don't know what kind of leverage that's going to give the city of Oakland to get the team.
Oakland doesn't seem to be a very friendly town for sports.
No, they lost the
I
Warriors
think
and they lost the Raiders. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think that gives the A's all the leverage, all the leverage in the negotiating over Oakland. If they have a place to go, Oakland loses all their leverage.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because if the city of Houston had speaking of Houston, if the city of Oakland had a place to play, then that would give them leverage over Oakland. But Oakland has a place to play that's not Oakland. That gives them a lot of negotiating room.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that, because now that what I wonder now is where are the Rays going to go if they move? So that leaves that question. That leaves that question up. So Rob Manfred,
could they get the Field of Dreams?
I'm sorry.
I'm just throwing spitball in here. What if they got the Field of Dreams?
Nah, Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Why Vancouver?
Well, no, because a lot of TV shows are filmed in that area. Set there. They're filmed in Vancouver anyway, so it does make a lot of sense. Because nobody thinks of Oakland as a town to be filming stuff and whatnot. So they go up to Canada because it's so. Do we dare say the word cheap?
No, Canada's anything but cheap.
Yeah, I don't.
Especially in Vancouver.
I was gonna say, if anything, yeah.
It's cheaper to shoot up there.
But I was going to say, the big article that came up is from BleacherReport.com. It says MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred talked up the potential benefit of a lockout should league owners and the MLB Player Association fail to agree to a new CBA by December 2nd. Manfred said Thursday that an off-season lockout that moves the process forward is different than a labor dispute that costs games. So here's
you're splitting hairs, son.
His quote here: "I don't think 94 worked out too great for anybody. I think we need to look at other sports. The pattern has become to control the timing of a labor dispute and try to minimize the prospect of actual disruption of the season. That's what it's about. It's avoid doing damage to the season." Negotiations have began between the owners and players union and have been continuous for some time. Associated Press, Ronald Bloom reported in October that a work stoppage appears most certain to start when the current CBA expires before midnight on December 2nd. So I think we all thought that was going to happen. I don't think any of us thought that wasn't going to happen.
No.
So they said based on the labor disputes up in spring training of the 2022 regular season, the NBA locked on its players out in June 2011, and there wasn't a breakthrough until mid-November of that year. The 2012 season wound up being 66 games, well below the typical 82 that were played.
Well, it's still more than half a season, so it's not terrible.
Well, that's true. And I mean, we all, after what happened last year with the COVID negotiations, I think we all saw the writing on the wall.
That's different.
Well, what I mean by that is how much they argued back and forth about money.
Well,
obviously, the players want more money. The owners are willing to pay that because there's no salary cap. There will never be a salary cap in baseball, I don't believe, not in our lifetimes.
No.
So yeah,
No, but what I'm saying is COVID was something different because that was not done by anybody's stupidity. Striking a lockout is caused by either the owners or the players being stupid.
Right, correct.
Doing damage to themselves. This was not. This was nobody's fault. Baseball should have got extra, and they should have follow like everybody else. But nobody can be blamed for COVID.
Right.
That's entirely a freak of nature right there. So we have to rule that out. That's typical stoppages.
I think to Brad's point there, he's saying that with as much as they lost and as much as they fought over COVID, you would think that they would be willing to negotiate now and prevent any kind of lockout or stoppage.
Yeah, because when you think about
in the future, just get it done.
Because think back to when we had 9/11. I mean, because they were on the brink of locking out Stringer for that year, but not only said they got more buying time, they gave them a whole year and they were able to work it out then. But they said another disaster like that or anything else probably would not solve anything. So this is a little bit of a different situation, but we were kind of expecting this.
Yeah, I've been expecting this for a year and a half now.
This is not. I mean, anybody who's been following baseball knows that this is likely to happen. If people don't follow it like we do, I don't really know what to think. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't think it's anything serious. So they don't take it as much serious like we do. We follow it more closely.
Right.
I don't think you have to be a cosmic genius to see it.
We've been expecting this for quite a while. Just like the NHL when they locked down in 2004, they had it planned 3 years in advance. I was reading something. You guys remember the hockey news, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm the only one here. So, the headline read that this has been a 2001 article just before the season started. They said the labor war of 2004, and believe me, it was a war, all right.
Yeah, it was.
When you hear that 3 years in advance and nothing done between that time, which should have been.
Yeah.
And there was something that was really brewing here. Of course, we can thank, Gary Bettman, who is the Antichrist. So that's
No, I mean, I think we all knew the writing was on the wall, and again, it's going to depend too. Now we were just talking about them shortening. Now again, they had a short season in 2020. Again, due to nothing that it was in their control.
Unforeseen,
they didn't have control over what happened.
No.
But again, it's not.
But they did have control over the negotiating and all of that, and
Correct.
So
yeah,
I think that's kind of what I'm where Lou's coming from is that they knew what happened going in dealing with COVID and getting back to play, and now we are a year later, and they've just started talking like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And very little progress made.
Yeah, if any.
I've seen a snail move faster than these negotiations. Okay,
right.
In fact, I think 2 of them. Oof.
Well, I
covered
mean,
in salt.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing right there. Again, like Lewis was just referring to, in the back in 2001, the NHL knew it was coming to a thing. You would think that MLB would have learned, say, hey, our CBA expires in 2021. Let's start negotiating now, or
in 2019
and get this done and get a new CBA, because the NFL had the same issue. They got their CBA signed real quick.
They got it done.
Yeah,
well, it didn't take very long. I think
they didn't even
page CBA, something
and
like
it
that.
was done with, and it was they never even went into a lockout.
No. I think it was like the day of or the day before.
Yeah, the hours before they were supposed to lock them out.
They signed the new CBA.
Or before the contract expired.
Yep.
All they missed was the Hall of Fame game. That was it.
They didn't even miss the Hall of Fame game.
No, they had the Hall of Fame
game.
They
did.
Yeah, they got everything. They got it done before the Hall of Fame game.
Well, I'm thinking. Okay, I must be thinking of the previous.
Yeah, the previous negotiation, they missed the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, that's the one. I know they missed the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, was that 2013?
2014,
something like that, yeah.
No, I think it was 2012, because I think it was the Summer Olympics that happened that year.
Yeah, because the 2013 was the NHL.
Yes.
How long now is the NFL? When is the next NFL CBA up?
2026, 2025.
Oh, they're okay. So it's a while. It's another 4
a couple of years.
Maybe
2031. Maybe
my youngest niece will be graduating junior high that year. So I'll put it that way.
Okay. So then the NHL, NBA, and the NFL all have their CBAs up to date, because I haven't heard anything about any of those leagues anytime soon.
Right.
I mean, the NHL probably would be the next one that would be a issue, I would imagine. How many lockouts have they had with Bettman? Three work stoppages in the NHL? 3 work stoppages,
1 canceled season. What a jerk.
Now, what year? I know the 05 season was locked out. What was the other 2?
1994 and 2004 and 2011, I think it was
13.
So there was no the baseball season was shortened in 94, and there was no hockey season in 94. Holy crap!
No, it wasn't hockey season. It was resumed.
The hockey season was shortened. That was 95.
48 games. 48.
Yeah, it was short. Yep, 94, 95.
Okay,
that was the.
Because didn't the Rangers win the Stanley Cup in 94?
Yes, yes.
That would have been the 93-94 season. The 94-95 season was the lockout shortened year.
But they still raised the banner opening night.
Because the Lightning won the Cup in 04, and then the lockout year happened in 05.
Yep.
And then they shortened the season, and the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup the following year.
I remember that.
Yep.
So
nobody watched it, but still.
Then, of course, 2 years ago, they were in a bubble. So they had a bubble in Canada. Because there was no hockey going to be played in the United States. They could have played in Vegas. I thought that would have been the only place they probably could have played.
Vegas?
Yeah, but the Canadian teams wouldn't have been able to travel this way.
Correct. They wouldn't have been able to cross the border.
That's why they played them up there, is because we could go there and come back, but they couldn't come here and go back.
It was like in Seattle or something like that. It was close enough.
Seattle, I don't think the arena was ready to go at that time.
Or Buffalo. I mean, you can walk from Buffalo.
Couldn't cross the border.
Can't cross the border.
Couldn't
go across the border.
Not even in Detroit too, huh?
Not even no.
The
Canadians couldn't come to the States and play.
Well, what if your downstairs side was on the American side?
How many Canadian teams were in the finals that year? In 2020.
4 or 5
Canadian teams in the finals?
Yeah, Montreal went to the not Montreal.
Montreal went last year. They were in the Stanley Cup finals last year. But the finals was Tampa Bay and Dallas. Dallas beat Colorado in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
The Lightning beat the Islanders in the semis in the Eastern Conference. I'm just trying to think of were there any Canadian teams in the final 8? There might have been. I mean, I could be wrong.
I think Toronto was there.
I think the Leafs were there. I think they were the only ones because Ottawa didn't. Ottawa had a bad season. Vancouver was out.
Mm-hmm.
Calgary may have been there too. I don't remember. Flames may have been there too.
I think they were. Yeah, if the Nets lose this game to Orlando, I'm going to be sick.
Kevin Durant's out with a shoulder injury.
Yep.
I saw that earlier today.
I heard.
Are they in Orlando or are they at home in New Jersey?
No, they're at the Barclays Center.
Oh, they're at home. Okay.
All right. Up by 3. Thank you.
Well, the Magic aren't a very good.
That's what I'm saying. If they lose this, they should be shot.
Not a very good basketball team.
Or deported. Yeah.
But
the Canadians and the Leafs. Well, the Canadians, the Leafs, the Flames, the Jets, and the Jets and the Oilers.
You're right. There were 5. Okay, so there were 5 teams in the bubble.
Yeah.
Check. That's why.
And there was no way that they were going to be able to come over and go back and come over and go back.
No.
Right.
So that's why they did. That's why they put them up in Canada.
Because didn't they talk about having a U.S.-based city and a Canadian-based city, and then they decided.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they kicked that around for a minute, but then they weren't going to be able to go back and forth.
Right.
Well, I mean, hell, look how long it took the Toronto Blue Jays to be able to go back.
I know, right? Even though
play baseball, there you go.
Even though we had been a full year out from the epicenter of the pandemic.
Correct. Yeah, they took them a long time to.
Even though you're walking distance between the two countries.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Kamara's out again.
And so the manager of the year for the American League, Kevin Cash, won it again 2 years in a row that he's won American League Manager of the Year.
Well deserved.
And who won in the National League again? I forget. Oh, Gabe Kapler, right? The Giants manager won Manager of the Year.
Yeah, they had a great season, especially when nobody expected them to be that good.
No.
They almost took out the Dodgers. It would have been nice to see them take out LA and have the Giants, play the
the Braves.
Done. Yeah.
It would have been so much better. They got to realign everything about that, because I still think it would have been better if they would have found a way for the Giants and Dodgers to play in the NL Championship, because they were the 2 best teams in all of baseball last year, and they had the way they have it all set up. It was not possible to do. They had to play them in the first round.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
That's because the Giants were the best team in the National League and the Dodgers were the wild card team, and that's why that happened. That's how that happened.
By one game, and they were the 2 best in the league.
That's a format that baseball needs to change.
They need to change that.
They can change in their new CBA, possibly their new CBA.
Right.
It would make sense.
That. So, I want to say at the end of the day, I think what the players want is they want more revenue, stadium revenue, than what they're getting now. I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And the owners are not willing to give that up, because that's how the owners make their money. Owners make their money off of ticket sales, concessions. That's what they make their money off of.
Right.
And if you cut into that, yeah, they ain't agreeing to give up money. Not that kind of money. Not that kind of money. That ain't happening. So, but you never know. You never.
Hopefully we don't play that.
We still have 2 weeks for them to get something worked out, so hopefully they can figure it out.
I seriously doubt it. I mean, this has been going
I don't think so.
For so long, and
right. It's been brewing for a hot
minute.
Not
budging, because now you got to play the blame game and everything. Like, they need this, and then we're back to the old opening of the books thing. Like, no, I'm not going to open it up. They're going to do that whole thing again.
Right.
Yeah.
This could be a very long winter.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. And you know what? At the end of the day, the baseball is going to hurt itself more than anything else, and that's the sorry part. For the true fans that actually care about Major League Baseball, they're the ones who are going to get hurt the most, because obviously they don't give a shit about their fans to make get the negotiations done. I think that's why the National Football League got theirs done so fast, because they knew they had a chance of losing fans.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we got to get this done. We got to get this done.
There's still be one bright spot coming out of it. There could be one bright spot of it. We don't hear Joe Buck for the whole season. Oh,
right.
Oh, you can watch him on Thursday Night Football if you love him so much.
No, because when they go to Prime next season, we won't have to worry about it either. Right. So we look out of it.
Yeah, exactly. We can go ahead if you want to. We can talk about college football. We can start with the college kids. Last week we had the Thursday night game was Pittsburgh beating North Carolina by 7 points, 30-23.
Yeah.
I had the luxury of being at the Friday night game last week between USF and Cincinnati. And I'm going to say this right now. I know USF wasn't going to win that game, but I'm telling you this right now. Cincinnati does not look like a top 6 team. I'm just going to say that out loud. From what I saw, Lewis, in all reality, that's a team that would not beat Alabama. That's a team that would not beat Georgia. That's a team that would not beat Ohio State. That's a team I don't think they even beat Notre Dame, even though I know they beat Notre Dame already this year. I don't think that they beat them again in a head-to-head match.
No, in other words, saying they're very overrated.
They are, to me, again, being there live to watch them play football.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a top 16. I can
touchdown really Houston.
Say that out loud. They're not a top 16.
Because in the football poll race, they're not being highly ranked.
No,
because they have the rankings, of course, posted every Tuesday, and Cincinnati is nowhere to be found. And I'm hearing a lot of that. Is not a top team, and they're not even close to being there. So there's been a lot of comments and reports about Cincinnati's status.
Well, I mean, like I said, I to me, they're not a. To me, they don't belong in the top 6 as far as I'm concerned. Again, I could be biased, and I'm not trying to be biased, but I've seen them live last Friday. They're not, to me, they don't look like a top 5 team. Yes, they can move the ball. Yes, they can. They can score. Yes, they can. But they, USF, who's not that good of a football team, really did some numbers on them a couple times. So, yes, USF.
They were in that game. They were,
The USF Bulls are probably another year away from being a solid team. Probably next season, you'll see them win a lot more games. They're right there on the cusp of being a winning team.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
we were talking about that.
They have the team. They just haven't been able to put it together for a complete game. That's it. Plain and simple. And now they have 2 games left. This week against Tulane, who's only won 1 game.
Yep.
And then, of course, the following game, as I'm driving next Friday to Ocala, they're playing UCF. So they're in the bounce house in Orlando. So I hope they beat UCF, because that would be So then we had Georgia on the road in Knoxville, and I guess Tennessee was the team that put up the most points this year against Georgia, scoring 17 in that game. 41-17 is the final. The Bulldogs stay undefeated and the number 1 ranking. Alabama rolled New Mexico State 59-3.
Right.
Oregon
take Bama in the points.
Yeah, Oregon beat Washington State 38-24 last week. Ohio State beat Purdue 59-31 at home. Michigan had a close game against Penn State 21-17. Scoring 7 points in each of the final 3 quarters to take the game out of the Nittany Lions' hands. Michigan State won 40-21 over Maryland. Baylor upset Oklahoma 27-14. Notre Dame beat Virginia 28-3. Oklahoma State moved into the top spot in the Big 12, beating TCU 63-17. Ole Miss beat Texas A&M 29-19. Good win for the Rebels, by the way. Wake Forest beat NC State. That's a good ACC game. 45-42. Mississippi State upset Auburn 43-34. Wisconsin won 35-7 over Northwestern. Iowa beat Minnesota 27-22. San Diego State got by Nevada 23-21. UTSA won 27-17 over Southern Miss. Utah beat Arizona 38-29. And Arkansas beat LSU in overtime 16-13. That's the top 25. The Gators struggled but won against Sanford. Good call by Lewis. I think Lewis called that said that game was going to be a lot tougher than it was projected to be. So
then it should have even had any right or business being.
Yep. I guess there's a game on right now. Memphis and Houston are playing each other.
Yeah, Memphis and Houston and Louisiana Tech and Southern Miss.
And later on tonight, you're going to have San Diego State and UNLV at 11:30 on CBS Sports Network from Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas.
11:30.
Yep. So then we get
an ass whooping.
So now tomorrow, are they in Columbus for the Ohio State Michigan game?
They are.
Okay. Yes. That's gonna be a great game.
No,
Georgia plays Charlotte Southern tomorrow at home in Athens.
Game they can't afford to
and
do.
I don't have a line or a
because it doesn't have a line. That's not a bettable game.
Okay, all right.
That's like we had the other week when BYU played Idaho State. Okay. They didn't have a line. It's not a bettable game.
The 12 o'clock game is Michigan State, Ohio State in Columbus. The line is 19 in favor of the Buckeyes. The over-under is 69.5 in that game.
Ohio State rolls.
Okay. I'll see.
Ohio State the points on the over.
Okay. So Ohio State covers. Okay. Lewis, what'd you say?
I think it's going to be a lot closer than what most people think. This is going to be a very hard-fought game.
I hate to say this, but I think Sparty pulls off an upset. I would love to see that happen. I would love to see that happen. But then...
No, I can't afford.
For Michigan, you have to be cheering for the Buckeyes because if that way they can... Because then the Michigan State, that win won't be anything so...
Yep. Then we just go beat Ohio State and we're good.
The next 12 o'clock game in the top 25 is Wake on the road in Death Valley against the Tigers. That's Clemson, not LSU. Clemson is 4.5 point favorite with the over-under being 56.5.
Wake Forest?
Clemson is the favorite.
Really?
Yes, they are the favorite.
If it was basketball, I'd take Wake Forest.
I take Wake. I'm
going to take Wake Forest, too.
Yep. The next game is Iowa State on the road to play the Sooners. Oklahoma is a 3.5 point favorite with the over-under being 59.5. My heart wants me, my brain tells me to take Oklahoma. My heart wants me to take Iowa State, but I don't know.
I think I'm going to take Oklahoma on that one, though.
Yeah, I'm going to take Oklahoma.
Okay.
They bounce back and they roll.
Yeah.
The next game is the number 16 Texas A&M Aggies at home against Prairie View A&M. Again, that is not a bettable game.
Oh, God. Hands down.
There's no line in that one. The next one is Mississippi State against Tennessee State. Again, that's no bettable line on that one either. Then you have the battle at 2 o'clock. You have Iowa at home against Illinois. The Hawkeyes are a 12.5 point favorite with the over-under being 38.5.
Iowa wins, but they won't cover.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. The next game is the number 8 Irish at home against Georgia Tech. 17.5-point favorite for ND. The over-under is 58.
I see Notre Dame winning, but I think GT's going to cover.
Okay.
Notre Dame and a points in the over.
Okay. The next game is the 3:30 SEC matchup as number 21 Arkansas travels to Tuscaloosa to play the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Tide are a 20.5-point favorite with the over-under being 58.
But they wait, is Alabama against who?
Arkansas.
Alabama rolls.
Alabama wins, but Arkansas covers.
Okay. All right.
What was the line?
The line is 20.5.
That's a bit much.
Yeah, I think I'll agree. Arkansas covers.
The next one is SMU on the road in Cincinnati to play the Bearcats. Cincinnati is a 10-point favorite with the over-under being 65.
Bearcats.
Yeah.
Okay. I would not be surprised if SMU pulls off an upset, but I think the Bearcats will win that.
Yeah, I think
the Michigan is on the road against Maryland. The Wolverines are a 15.5-point favorite with the over-under being 57.5.
Michigan the points in the over.
Yes.
All right. Nebraska is on the road against Wisconsin. The Badgers are a 10-point favorite with the over-under being 43.
Who was that again?
Wisconsin's a 10-point favorite over Nebraska.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
This is not Tom Osborne's 90s team anymore.
No, Wisconsin rolls.
Okay. Then we switch to the ACC. Virginia travels to Pittsburgh. The Panthers are a 14.5-point favorite with the over-under being 66.
I'll take it, Virginia.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Virginia got shelled by
Notre
Dame last week. Pittsburgh all the way.
UAB is on the road against UTSA. The Roadrunners are a 4.5-point favorite with the over-under being 53.5.
UTSA.
Yeah.
I take UTSA too in that one, both being in the Conference USA. The next game is at 4 o'clock. BYU is on the road against Georgia Southern. The line is 20.5.
BYU.
57.
Yeah, BYU.
BYU? Okay. And the Syracuse is on the road to play the NC State Wolfpack. Wolfpack is 11.5-point favorite with the over-under being 50.
I think I'm going to go with Syracuse.
Syracuse, okay.
NC State, but Syracuse covers.
Okay.
And the over.
The 5:30 game has the Baylor Bears on the road in Manhattan to play the Kansas State. K-State.
Yeah.
K-State's a 1-point favorite with the over-under being 50.
The fuck? Baylor all the way.
I was going to say I'll take Baylor in that one too.
Although Baylor could be in due for a letdown.
Letdown?
After beating Oklahoma and such.
Yeah.
Kind of like Michigan State a couple weeks back now.
Yeah. Yep.
Could be. No, I still like Baylor.
The next game has the number 3 Ducks on the road against the Utah Utes. Utah is a 3-point favorite, and the over-under being 58.5. That's going to be a good football game for the.
Should be a good one.
Pac-12.
Utah.
Okay.
Oregon.
The next one is an SEC matchup. You have Vanderbilt on the road in Oxford to play Ole Miss. The Rebels are a 36-point favorite.
Oh, yeah.
The over-under being 65.5. And the final game will have the Oklahoma State Cowboys on the road against Texas Tech. Oklahoma State's a 10-point favorite with the over-under being 56.5.
Oklahoma State,
yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to check real quick. I want to see What is the line for the Gators Missouri game? I'm just 100% curious. Because the Gators can't play defense to save their freaking lives.
Clearly.
Let's see I want to see what the line is tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
I'll be at the hockey game, so if it's a late kickoff,
Right.
I'm not going to be able to watch it all.
Right.
Florida's okay. It's a 4:00 kick. Yeah, that's when the hockey game starts. The Gators are actually 8.5-point favorite with the over/under being 69. Wow. Okay.
Take Florida.
I'm there with you. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, Missouri covers. Take the over.
Okay. The other SEC games are Auburn on the road to play South Carolina. The Tigers are a 7.5.
That should be a good game.
Over/under being 44.5 in South Carolina.
Take the over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tennessee's at home against South Alabama. The
Tennessee, the points, the over.
Point favorite. 62 point is the over/under.
Tennessee, the points in the over.
LSU is at home against UL Monroe. Tigers are a 29-point favorite with the over/under being 57.5.
Yeah, that's a virtual lock.
Okay.
LSU, the points in the over.
Yeah.
The other game is Kentucky's at home against New Mexico State, who Alabama beat last week.
Mm-hmm.
The Wildcats are a 36-point favorite with the over/under being 60.5.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all the SEC games. I didn't hang on a second, Lewis, because I didn't see Rutgers down. Who do the Knights have this week? Who's starting up playing?
Rutgers has.
Let me see who they're playing this week. They're Penn State. They're at
You get it.
Yeah.
The Nittany Lions are an 18.5-point favorite with the over/under being 46.
They're being generous with that one. Penn State's going to kill them.
It's on the Big Ten Network at noon.
Yeah, Penn State can.
It's a noon game.
I think I'll take a chance to watch the Michigan-Ohio State game.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that one. The other noon game is Purdue at Northwestern. The Boilermakers are an 11-point favorite.
Purdue, the points, the over.
They're playing at Wrigley Field.
Really?
Yeah, It's a neutral game.
Once again, better basketball matchup.
Again.
It's a neutral site game.
I know how much you guys love neutral site games.
I don't have a problem.
I hate them.
I don't have a problem with them.
Oh, wait, Adam does, right?
Oh, yeah, I hate them.
He doesn't like them. Yeah.
Not in the regular season.
Okay.
I hate him in the regular season. Playoffs, like the bowl games, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
You don't want to have one team with a decided edge, playing at home. But I hate the idea of playing a regular season game. The idea of not going to Athens or going to the swamp.
Yeah, but no one really has an advantage of a neutral site game.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Georgia and
that's
Florida
the whole
always
point of building up.
Georgia and Florida always play in Jacksonville every year. Every year they play there, so that's their.
But I hate the idea of playing a regular season game at Jerry World or Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Or, as a Michigan fan, I don't want to give away a home game to some random, stadium. When it'd be like I'm playing Washington and playing earlier we played Washington, just Washington, not Washington State, just Washington, and I can't remember what they're.
I think I get the point. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to give away a game at the Big House,
right?
To play at Jerry World.
I get it.
I wouldn't want. I hate going to if I'm an Alabama fan, I don't want to give away a game in Tuscaloosa to go to Jerry World. That's just stupid.
The Iron Bowl's coming up next week. So
yeah.
All the rival games happen next week.
Yeah.
It'll
be a good weekend.
So if you guys want, we can do a Sunday show and go over all those games because Thursday's Thanksgiving Day. And Friday, I'm not going to be home enough to do a show.
Sunday's good.
Right. Sunday's fine. Thursday's good. Whatever. We can do 2 shows that week. Do a show Thursday night if we lose a round.
The other Big Ten game before we get into the NFL is Minnesota at Indiana. Golden Gophers are a 7.5-point favorite with the over/under being 43.5.
Ooh, they both need a win.
Yeah.
What are the records?
The Golden Gophers are 6-4 with a 4-3 record in the Big Ten. Indiana's 2-6, and they are 0-7 in the conference. They have not.
Give me Minnesota.
Golden Gophers.
Yeah, give me Minnesota.
They have not won a conference game.
I wanted that was gonna heavily influence my decision was to see where both teams were in terms of what they needed.
Yes.
And Indiana doesn't need this one. This one's gonna mean a whole hell of a lot more to Wisconsin or to Minnesota, jockeying for a bowl game position. So yeah, Minnesota.
I'm interested to see, what SEC team and what Big Ten team play in the Outback Bowl, because I'm trying to get credentials in that game. And when I went 2 years ago, it was Auburn and Minnesota, so I want to see who gets picked.
It's a hell of a game
for the Outback Bowl again.
It would be kind of cool. Game.
It would be kind of cool to see like Wisconsin, Florida, in that game or something like that.
That's a possibility. It's a possibility. It depends on what happens with the Big Ten. What happens in Indy here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It all comes down to these next 2 weekends.
Okay.
Because we still have a shot at the playoff at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We need Ohio State to win this weekend and then just take care of business next weekend and we're in.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's very simple. We have to go beat Maryland, beat the brakes off of Maryland. Leave no doubt. I'm a little bit worried about this game. A little bit. It's a trap game for sure.
Are you afraid, Bud, that they're looking ahead to Ohio State?
Yeah. Because there was a lot of talk. There wasn't a lot of Maryland talk this weekend in my groups. A lot of looking forward to looking ahead and talking about Ohio State, Michigan State. And we still have to get past Maryland. If we lose tomorrow afternoon, and where does Maryland? Where I didn't even know what city the Terrapins play in.
I was gonna say Annapolis, but no, that's for Navy.
No, yeah, it's Navy.
Hang on just a second. Let me look here, because they're on the road, right?
Yeah, it's a road game. Yeah, and after beating Penn State.
Yeah, let me see real quick. See if this loads. There we go. What's up? Maryland plays in College Park, Maryland.
Okay, yeah.
Maryland State.
Not a fun atmosphere.
The game
should be loud. Should be raucous.
Game time temperature is going to be 50 degrees, so nothing that they're not used to. That's not.
No, it's hot.
It's not going to be a factor for any.
Yeah, it's going to be compared to Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor at 3:00 on Saturday is probably going to be 35
at best,
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Right now, it's tomorrow. That's what I wanted. At 3:00, 3:30, you're looking at 39. So yeah, it's gonna be a very warm day.
It'll be warmer in Maryland than it will be in Michigan.
Very warmer.
Usually is.
Yeah, usually is. Maryland's not a good football team. Let's be honest.
They're not.
They're very average. They're mediocre. They're not terrible. They're not, Rutgers or Vanderbilt.
Yep.
But they're very mediocre. They're not, they're not Northwestern or Indiana apparently. But to not give them the Tua Tagovailoa there, his brother.
Yep.
Is no slouch. They're 5-5. It's a big one. They need a win. They get a win. They're bowl eligible, and they can play spoiler. So to look past Maryland and be worried about Ohio State is only spells, only leaves room for disaster.
Yes.
Yeah, I would, but if I'm Jim Harbaugh this week, I'm saying, guys, we still got a game we got to play.
Yep.
This is not. We just can't say, oh, we can dominate, or what I would say is we need to go out and dominate them. We need to go out and
beat
the brakes off of them.
Yep. You got one job for the next 60 minutes. One game at a time, one play at a time.
Correct.
There's a lot of bad things that can happen in a game like this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's playing outside yourself. Just play your position, play your spot, and win every down, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yep.
And we don't need any heroes out there this week.
Just avoid injuries. Don't want to get injured before.
That's the main thing. Avoid the injuries.
We're gonna get out of here with everybody healthy and another W and ready for Ohio State. I would expect a very conservative playbook, very very vanilla. Yeah, left, right, and up the middle, man. And not gonna take any chances. Not gonna put the ball out there and put it in harm's way. It's very simple, very vanilla, very blasé offensive scheme. Not going to run a lot of blitzes. Just keep everything in front of you, make the tackles, and make Maryland drive the whole field the whole day.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds like a good game plan to me.
Turn Ojabo and Hutchinson loose and just let them eat all day. Yeah. And keep everything in front of you and make the tackles. Maryland's a much beleaguered team. They're not anything that I'm worried about.
Right.
In terms of them, skill on skill, Michigan is a much better football team.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start playing like if you start goofing around and trying to get cute, and you let Maryland hang around, and you get late in the fourth quarter, and Maryland thinks they have a chance, well, you done screwed up.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely screwed.
And
go ahead.
We kind of we put ourselves behind the 8 ball with the Michigan State loss earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And so now we have to make up for it, and we just have to hope that they lose one of these next 2 games, whether they lose to Ohio State this week or Penn State next week, so that we can go play in the Big Ten championship game. As long as we take care of our business. It's not to say that we can't make the playoff if we don't. If Michigan State wins this week, and they're still past the playoffs, beating Ohio State, and then Michigan State losing in the Big Ten championship game. There's still opportunities to go make the playoffs, but it makes our road easier if Michigan State loses this week, and we can go beat Ohio State.
Yeah, because that will put Sparty at 2 losses then at that point.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because they lost to Purdue earlier.
Correct. All right, so we can move to the NFL. Obviously, last week, they upset on Thursday Night Football when the Dolphins beat the Ravens. Obviously, they must have had a good game.
Right.
Yeah.
To keep Lamar Jackson at bay.
Yeah. Sitting here watching that game with you guys last night, and that was an ugly football game.
The Cowboys beat the Falcons 43-3.
Yeah,
bounced back. The Titans beat the Saints in a close game, 23-21. Which now I guess the Titans have the NFL's best winning streak, which is now at 6 in a row. Right. The Colts beat the Jaguars. That's no surprise, 23-17. The Patriots rolled
up Cleveland.
Buffalo got their revenge back, 45-17 over the Jets. The lovely Detroit Lions tied with the Steelers, so there won't be an 0-17 team this year.
Yeah,
because there won't be one this year. I don't wish that upon them anyway. I think
when you're that bad,
50 years of ineptitude, you can lose them all.
Yeah.
The Washington beat the Bucks 29-19. It seems like the Washington football team has the Bucks number. They can't beat them for some off the wall reason. They have struggled against them in the playoff game last year. The Panthers beat the Cardinals 34-10. Cam Newton's back, as you saw him announce.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
he's back. Minnesota beats LA 27-20. That's a shocker. I thought the Chargers would win that game. The Eagles beat the Broncos 30-13. The Packers shut out Seattle 17-0. Russell Wilson looks like he's rusty. He's got to give him
Rusty Wilson.
I don't know if you agree with this, guys, but it looks like Kansas City is back after beating the Raiders 41-14.
It's too early.
And then the 49ers upset the Rams 31-10 on Monday Night Football last week. And then we can now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's too early to tell.
Fast forward to last night's game where the Patriots shut out the Falcons 25-0. I mentioned earlier in the show that it looked like to me that Matt Ryan is getting very, very frustrated with how the team is playing.
Yeah.
Too many false start penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Some
really hard interceptions that he threw.
Yeah, frustration I think is building in Matt. Matt Ryan, he can still play football. I'm not saying anything bad about Matt. He can still play. But when you don't have the team around you, it's not pretty, and it's not pretty right now in Atlanta for the Falcons.
No, it's not.
So we start, guys. We start with the 1:00 games. The first one is Indianapolis on the road in Buffalo. The Bills are a 7-point favorite with the over/under being 49.5.
Bills, hands down.
Bills, the points and the under.
Okay. The next game, guys, is at Soldier Field as Baltimore will be on the road against Chicago. The Ravens are a 6-point favorite with the over/under being 44.5.
Ravens, the points, and the over.
Okay. The next game has the 0-8-1 Lions on the road in Cleveland. The Browns are a 12-point favorite with the over/under being 42.5.
Yeah, Cleveland.
I think Nick Chubb is back.
Yeah, Nick Chubb is going to be back. So,
the next game is a AFC South matchup as the Houston Texans travel to Tennessee to play the Titans. The Titans are a 10-point favorite with the over 44.5.
Titans, the points and the over.
The next game is the NFC North as Green Bay travels to Minnesota. The Packers are only a 1-point favorite with the over-under being 47.
That's a road game. Yeah, Packers.
Okay. The Dolphins are on the road against the Jets. The Fins are a 3.5-point favorite with the over/under being 44.5.
I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Jets too.
Jets. Okay. All right. The Saints are on the road in Philadelphia to play the Eagles. The Eagles are a 2.5-point favorite with the over/under being 46.
Saints.
Okay. Saints.
Saints and Eagles in New Orleans.
Saints and Eagles in Philly. At Lincoln Financial Field.
Oh, it's in Philly.
Philadelphia.
Okay. Yeah, the Saints.
Saints. Okay. The Washington football team is on the road in Carolina. The Panthers are a 3.5-point favorite over/under 43.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Carolina.
San Francisco can get to 500. They're on the road against the Jaguars. 6.5-point favorite for the Niners. 45.
Yeah.
To start the 4:00 games, the Cincinnati Bengals are on the road in Vegas to play the Raiders. The Bengals are a 1-point favorite with the over/under being 50.5.
The Bengals, not the Bengals. The Bengals and the.
Okay. All right. The 425 matchup is the Dallas Cowboys on the road in Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. It's a 2.5-point favorite for the Chiefs. The over/under is 56.5.
Cowboys.
Cowboys and the under.
Okay.
This will be a real test. We'll see who's for real in this one. Is Kansas City back or is Dallas for real? We're starting to get to testing time.
Yes.
We're past the halfway point.
Yep.
We're at Thanksgiving. We're the cream will rise to the top.
The next game, guys, is Arizona on the road in Seattle.
Arizona.
Cardinals are a 1-point favorite with the over-under being 47.5.
Cardinals.
Okay. The Sunday night game is the Steelers on the road in in Los Angeles to play the Chargers. The Chargers are a 6-point favorite with the over-under being 47. Now, Roethlisberger is back, I believe, right?
He should be, yeah.
I'm taking the Steelers.
I'm taking the Chargers.
The Monday night game is the Giants on the road here in my house in Tampa. The Bucs are 11-point favorite with the over-under being 49.5.
Oh, we got a big house on those people.
Yeah, I know, right?
It holds 70-some thousand people.
Wow.
You have a nice house then.
Yeah.
Right in my backyard.
And yet none of the bathrooms are ever available.
That's true.
That seems to be the biggest issue. Whenever you go to any kind of sporting event, no matter what time of the game it is, you're exactly right. It never seems to happen that way. So I'll be at Amway Arena tomorrow night, and that'll happen to me too. So.
You'll either have to decide what am I gonna miss. So do I miss the beginning, the middle, or the end of the period?
Correct.
Because even if you try to go during an intermission.
Yeah, right. That is the NFL scoreboard and predictions this time. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? We do have some time left. There's a lot.
Yeah, I see that we blew right through this. We blew through the topics like when usually we'd spend another. Usually we're coming right to the end of it.
Right.
I want to say I was right about Zach Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah. I went back and I was watching the first episode from this year, and it was back in January, and we were discussing the draft at that time because we hadn't had the draft yet, and oh good lord.
Good lord.
It's been a long day. I've been up since 5 a.m. What do you want from me?
Right.
But no, we were discussing Zach Wilson. We were discussing just discussing the draft in general, and we were discussing Zach Wilson and who was gonna go number 2 because we were pretty sure that Trevor Lawrence. That's yep. Was gonna go was gonna be number 1. And then we just kicked around the idea of Justin Fields at 1. But then we just said, because Urban Meyer had just been brought in and with the Ohio State connection, we thought maybe there was be some movement there, but obviously wasn't, is it? Yeah. We were discussing who was going to be number 2. And everyone had Zach Wilson going 2, and I was like, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I don't like him. He's arrogant. He's cocky. And he has a terrible attitude.
Yeah, he does.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was worried about myself.
And we're in week 11 now, or week 10. It's week 11 for college football. It's week 10 for the NFL. We're in week 10 now, and he's not even. Is he even on the depth chart at this point?
No.
He's not. He's certainly not starting, and definitely not playing.
Right.
No. And I was like, was just re-listening to that show and listening to parts of episodes 2 and 3 while I was at work today, and now knowing if I didn't know then what I know now, I would have been like, yeah, he's gonna be a bust. And I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that Mac Jones was the best quarterback in the draft last year. And
there's a lot of people, speaking of Mac, there's a lot of people that say that once again he's been put in a great he's been put in a great situation.
Yeah, he's been blessed,
which I can't disagree with that opinion. But on the flip side of it, if the Patriots can't run the football, he doesn't have any weapons to throw to. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's why Tom left. Tom went to Tampa Bay because guess what? The Bucs have weapons. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller. He brought in, of course, Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown, who Antonio Brown, I guess, is in trouble now because I guess he paid someone $500 for a fake COVID card. So I don't know if you guys heard that. That is a Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times, a local newspaper here in Florida, brought that up, I guess, yesterday. So they're investigating whether he paid for a fake COVID card. So I haven't heard.
Everything that I've heard is that it was legitimate.
Legit.
Okay. Yeah. Everything that I've heard is that everybody in the organization believes that it was real, and they have no reason to doubt that it would to doubt that it looked like everyone else's vaccination record.
Okay.
So that's what I've heard about that. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of hot air to me.
Some people on local radio, but because I listened to the radio, I had to get up at 6 to go pick up the mail for work, and I listened to sports talk all the way to work, and they said that a lot of times Antonio Brown likes to draw attention to himself, and maybe he brought up the card to draw attention to himself. Because if you think about it, since he's come to Tampa Bay, he hasn't gotten in trouble off the field.
Right. He had that one minor incident at the beginning, at the very, very beginning.
Right. Correct.
Where he trashed that one guy's pool house or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's been very low key and very quiet and very just mind your business and do what you got to do.
I think that's got something to do with Tom Brady. I think kind of making sure, like, hey, we need you.
Right.
Stupid.
Well, I mean, Brady calmed down Moss. Moss was one of those antics guys.
Yep, he sure was.
That's why they run him out of Minnesota. Didn't want to deal with his antics anymore.
And you know who else was like that, too, was Corey Dillon. Dillon was another one.
Yeah, Corey Dillon was a malcontent and a problem child.
Yep.
Before he got to New England.
And that all calmed down, so
Yeah, he was a bad teammate. He was a bad teammate in Cincinnati. Yep. Didn't want to work.
Right.
Came to New England and it was a different story.
Yeah. He's like, where has this guy been for the last 3.5 years?
Did he win a ring? Did he win a ring?
Yeah. Okay. I think he was there in 2005.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he had won, if he was on one of the 6 championship teams or not. Okay. I know he wasn't on the last few. I know that much. I think it had to be early on.
Yeah, the 04 team.
Okay.
Yeah, the 04 team. Yeah, he was in Cincinnati from 97 to 03, and then he was in New England for a couple of years from 04 to 06.
Gotcha. Is there anything else, guys, you want to talk about? But we don't have to go a full 2 hours if you don't want to.
I'm game to hang out. I'm just sleepy. That's all.
Because I don't have
anything else you saw.
I don't. I mean, I didn't.
We had winter testing. They had a couple of days of testing at Charlotte this past week.
Go right ahead. But go ahead. I didn't hear about that. Go ahead. Didn't hear about that.
Yeah, they had 22 in the next gen cars out there on the track. Nothing uber exciting because
I see
nobody's. You're not gonna go out there, just kind of shaking everything down and putting everything through their paces, getting some pit stops in. The pit stops were kind of interesting. They didn't seem to be all that much different than your standard current pit stop, even with the one lug. A couple of teams that I'd seen had some trouble getting the tire. They got new tires. No, they're taller, so they're running an 18-inch tire instead of the standard 16s that they have been running.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit bigger. Car seems to the feedback that I'm hearing is that the car is harder to drive. It's more edgy. Denny Hamlin was in a single car incident. Lost it in 3. Caught it and saved it. Didn't hit anything, but the cars look kind of blasé. Wasn't any. They moved the numbers forward on the cars, more in front of the front wheel. or in front of the wheel well, and not in the traditional on the side where they've been since the 70s.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it as much as I did a year and a half ago when they first started kicking around the idea of moving them forward.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't. I had a feeling that you weren't going to see anything crazy, because you didn't, want to put anybody. You're not going to put yourself or anyone else in any kind of real. Nobody's coming off 4-3 wide,
Right.
down to the down, taking it all the way to the bottom in a testing run for absolutely nothing but information. So everybody was pretty respectful and minded their manners, and just a lot of single car runs, a little bit of passing, but nothing crazy. We won't really see anything until probably midway through March. That's when we'll really know what kind of car we have, what kind of racing we're gonna get. When we gotta get out of Daytona, we're gonna run Auto Club, and I think then we're coming, and then Phoenix, and I'm not sure where it goes after that. Offhand, they've announced that they're gonna have practice next year.
That's good.
So there will be some practice, and then they're gonna do qualifying. They're gonna have practice and qualifying. A couple of different formats for practice and qualifying, depending on where they're racing and what weekend it is. So they got some stuff in the works there. That's kind of everything I got on that.
Well, guys, I just reading the article. Remember, I told you about the Oakland A's possibly moving to Vegas. Here is the talk from the Athletic.
Okay.
I got a subscription. It says the Oakland A's have made an offer on an undisclosed site in the Las Vegas area that could be used as land for a new ballpark. A source confirmed the Athletic on Friday. The offer was first reported by the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It says the A's have made several trips to Las Vegas and its surrounding cities throughout this year to scout potential sites and speak with local political leaders. They also have continued negotiations to get a ballpark project approved in downtown Oakland at the Howard Terminal site. That would also include residential and commercial real estate projects in the waterfront stadium. Now, does this mean that the A's are moving? Steve Berman, the Oakland A's beat writer, says while this doesn't look good for the A's' chances of staying in Oakland, it doesn't necessarily mean the A's are leaving Northern California. It's possible that the A's prefer Las Vegas, sure, because even though the Bay Area real estate is much more valuable, the number of hoops the A's have had to jump through to get the deal done has frustrated the team and Major League Baseball. It says here that the MLB has put pressure on the city of Oakland to get it done. Where do things stand with the Howard Terminal location? Things are moving along slowly. Alameda County has agreed to consider joining in on a tax district that would reimburse the A's for infrastructure costs, as the area around the terminal site needs a lot of work to make transportation to and from the new stadium efficient. The A's are waiting on the city of Oakland to finalize and approve an environmental impact report, which would then probably trigger a series of lawsuits from interest, including business currently at the Port of Oakland. Looks like it says Oakland Mayor Libby Scarf has struck an optimistic tone in recent months, including on Friday, stating that a $14 million federal infrastructure grant would do a lot to close the gap in funding for offsite infrastructure. However, no votes are currently scheduled. So that is kind of how it's going with the A's. I did read something that the quarterback, Matt Corral, will be playing his final home game in an Ole Miss uniform as he's heading to the draft. So he's playing the Yankees have designated Clint Frazier, Rowan Odor, and Tyler Wade for assignment. So they will not be back with the Yankees next year.
Right.
Noah Syndergaard signed a 1-year contract with the A's, or excuse me, with the Angels. My apologies. With the Angels. Rob Gronkowski could be back this week. Been practicing with the team. Here's the new look Patriots are rolling. Super Bowl contenders or a tad overrated? That's the question on that.
Too early to tell.
I agree. Too early to tell. You have
right now, yes, they look like Super Bowl contenders.
You have a boxing match between Terence Crawford and Sean Porter this Saturday.
Ooh, that should be a good one
for the welterweight title. So that should be
a good one. Yeah.
I believe. I mean, not that I go into it too much, but I believe this Sunday is the WWE Survivor Series.
Is the Survivor Series this weekend?
I think so.
I haven't heard one way or the other.
Hang on just a second. Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah.
I think it's this week. Let's see. WWE Survivor Series 2021. Yeah, it's Sunday. Yeah, it's this Sunday coming up. And let's take a look at what the fight card is. For the Survivor Series Championship, you have Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus the WWE Champion Big E.
Okay.
They're predicting Roman Reigns will win that one. Yes. The SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair versus Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. They have Becky Lynch winning that one. Team Raw is Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley versus Team SmackDown of Drew McIntyre, Xavier Woods, Jeff Hardy, Happy Corbin, and a to be announced. And they say Team SmackDown wins that fight. Okay. The Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus United States Champion Damian Priest. They have Damian winning that one. The Raw Tag Team Champions, that is the RK Bros versus the Usos, or the SmackDown Champions. They have the Usos winning that match. So that is the lowdown for the and then I'm sorry, the women on SmackDown and Raw. You have Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Zelina Vega. Team SmackDown is Sasha Banks, Shotzi, Shayna Baszler, and Natalya, and there's another one to be announced. But that's the card for the WWE. I haven't been paying attention to the WWE since WrestleMania, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. No idea at all. Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I haven't been following.
I don't even know.
I haven't followed that. Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on in AEW either. So
yeah,
I didn't pay any attention to wrestling.
Right.
But I think we've had that conversation where there's not any new people.
There's no new blood
to get behind. Yeah.
No new blood, huh?
No.
No, there's not anyone to get behind at the end of the day.
No.
So.
Nobody exciting. Nobody. Like we talked to death, but there's no one. There's not. It's not a new era. It's just a continuation of the last era. There isn't anything new and exciting coming along, injecting life into the business.
No.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that AEW was going to be this lightning rod that was going to send shockwaves through the WWE.
Yeah, that was the rumor.
And so far, AEW hasn't done anything to move the needle.
No.
I mean, it's just they're a carbon copy of each other, and it's boring.
Yeah.
And and like I've said before, a lot of what I'm seeing is the same old, same old.
Yeah.
It's two guys have a match, somebody comes down to interrupt. Two guys have a match, somebody comes down to interrupt. Two guys have a match, somebody comes down to interrupt. There's so many dirty finishes or dusty finishes anymore because, because nobody wants to lose, but nobody I can't lose, but you can't win.
Yeah.
Nobody because boxing is a work and there's everything is predetermined. You can't have a genuine match because everything's all predetermined.
Right.
And there's no and they're not selling it. I just don't buy the work, We all know it's a work. I'm just not buying in right now.
Right.
Well, speaking to change the subject with the WWE, Michelle Beadle, who used to be on Sports Nation, ESPN, has a podcast now on The Athletic. I got to listen to her show the other day. Today, she had Paul Pierce, who got fired from ESPN. I haven't got a chance, guys, to listen to the episode yet, so
That
maybe
could be interesting.
I'll listen to it and let you guys know about it next week when we come back on Sunday. I'll let you guys know what the episode was about. I think she drops new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I think. So I'm going to listen and try to keep up with that. She was one of the reasons why I watched Sports Nation. Nothing against Wiley, but she was one of the reasons why I watched it. But like she said in her first podcast, that it got too political on ESPN, and that's why she left. Why she left. So, and obviously, as Adam was specifying today, we all were waiting. The people that followed the case, I think we were all waiting for the Wittenhouse verdict to come in, but that's not something you cover on ESPN. That's something that's covered on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, all of the other news channels.
Why in their stupid minds they don't want to cover that on ESPN? I don't get that.
I have no idea.
That's because they don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah,
they're out of topics to talk about, so they have to.
Well, and it's it's big,
picture.
It's big, all-encompassing national news, and
yes,
we can't be left out of the loop. Got to talk about it, even though it has nothing to do with anything we're discussing.
Right.
It'd be like turning on Entertainment Tonight. And for fashion advice and starlet news and celebrity news, and them having some piece on some political you turn on Entertainment television or Entertainment Tonight or Inside Edition, and them doing a 5-minute piece on
Inside Edition is trash anyway.
Well, but if you just turn on Inside Edition, I'm sorry, my train of thought crashed there. It's been a long day. But in turning on Inside Edition and them having a 5-minute bit on Tom Brady for no good reason, it would turn off the view. The people that watch Inside Edition couldn't give two rats' asses.
No.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, I tune into ESPN to watch, to get sports coverage. And I don't care about what is going on in the quote unquote real world. I want to know what's going on in the sports world. I want to know what's going on with my favorite teams and the guys that I follow.
Right.
And them constantly bringing up stuff that's not sports related it's turned so many people off. It's like it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have wall-to-wall sports coverage, I don't understand. I don't see how people can do a daily show.
Yeah. Not enough. There's not enough information.
It's hard enough. It's hard enough to do 1-2 hour show a week, and to put on a good show and be entertaining for 2 hours when you're doing when you're covering everything under the sun, and we still have a hard time filling 2 full hours some nights.
Yeah.
Now you know what I go through when I do about 5 to 6 shows a week. Well, not hosting them, but involved.
Right. I couldn't imagine trying to do this 5 days a week as a full-time every day 2, 3, 4 hour show where we're talking about the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
Right.
The key word is exhausting.
Yeah. I mean, by Tuesday morning, everything and anything to discuss in the NFL has been gone over. By Wednesday, everything that happened Tuesday night in basketball or hockey or baseball, whatever time of the year it is, that's all been discussed. And everything, by 8 o'clock in the morning, everybody that works nights that gets out at 10 o'clock has seen all the overnight sports shows. Everybody by 10 o'clock in the morning, everybody who works mornings has seen all the morning sports shows. Yep. So by 10 o'clock in the morning, there's nothing new to talk about. Everything's been cussed and discussed.
Yep. Well, I come up with more stuff with the ESPN sites because they update every few hours, and I get the story in, so I always do find something to talk about.
But what I meant, being on the air.
Oh, right, okay.
And doing a daily show. When you do one or two shows, or if you call in to different shows and you're not having to carry the show and be the host, and finding like Brad finding stuff for us to talk about on a day on a being a producer, if we had a producer, if this show had any production value, it might actually be entertaining. Find 3 better hosts and you might have yourself a show.
But budget, you can't.
Yeah. We don't even have a shoe at this point.
We're on the shoestring budget. We don't even have the string yet.
We have a hole in it.
No, I was gonna say real quick. Last week I was mentioning the Tampa Bay Rowdies, how we don't talk about them.
I was thinking about that.
Tomorrow they're playing in the East Final again against Louisville City. They beat them last year to get into the championship game. So if the Rowdies win,
and then the championship game got canceled for COVID, right?
Okay. So this year the Rowdies could be back in the championship game, actually playing for the title this year. That'll add another championship to Tampa Bay, which is you have 2 cups and a Super Bowl title.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously the Rays were unable to get to the World Series this year. But again, their manager won Manager of the Year. Randy Arozarena won Rookie of the Year. So there was some hardware handed out.
There was some hardware, yeah.
Not the right kind of hardware that they would
not the hardware you're hoping for, but
the Commissioner's Trophy, is in Atlanta. So it is what it is. They ended their long-awaited championship streak. So other than that, guys, I don't have anything else that I have to talk about.
Right.
If you want to go ahead, Lewis, and tell us about your show tomorrow night.
All right. The sports show rolls on tomorrow, 5 to 7 p.m. at East Coast time. Part 2 of the MLB Awards, as we didn't get a chance to do all of it because I know I couldn't take up the whole show with that. Of course, we'll go over the college football predictions for the bowl, for the playoff race, our college football predictions, NBA and NHL and college basketball news, along with other regular features. And, of course, being that's the show before Thanksgiving, I'll have some thoughts on Thanksgiving holiday with, what games do you look forward to? What do you look forward to for Thanksgiving? Any special wishes you want to bring out to? So it's going to be a very interesting and rather thoughtful show tomorrow. So if you got time to call in, please do. Number is 512-543-4662. That's from 5 to 7, and all are welcome. And, of course, remember, it's a family show.
Well, guys, we will not be back here until the Sunday after Thanksgiving. It was kind of fun doing this on a Friday. And actually, the funny thing, guys, is the dinner I was supposed to have last night, I didn't get a chance to go because I was under the weather and I didn't feel good enough to do the show, or I would have been on here last night doing this, but I didn't feel good enough to do either one. I'm feeling better.
Right.
I don't have the C word or anything like that, but
right.
I did have
it's just not just having a touch of something.
Correct. Right. It's something that I had
allergies or something.
No, it was more stress related stomach issues. I didn't very good to come on here and
that's fine. We had planned a show anyway, so
right. And I knew we had planned on doing it tonight or Sunday, so I kind of figured one way or the other.
And then work got canceled tomorrow, so I was like,
by the way, no show next Saturday due to the Thanksgiving holiday.
Cool.
Good to know.
Again, this has been the Walker Report, part of In the Zone Sports Talk Radio and NGSC Sports. Remember the website, guys. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We are also being aired live on Coast to Coast Entertainment. The show is sponsored by creatingzenspaces.com. And again, like I said earlier, she is only providing services in the St. Petersburg area. But again, guys, we will be back here the Sunday after Thanksgiving. I will be coming home from the Florida State game that weekend. I leave next Friday to drive to Ocala, where I'm staying, and then it's a 45-minute drive because it was too expensive to stay in Gainesville on a holiday.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So that happened that way. But I will see these two fine gentlemen Sunday next week. Everyone, please have a good. Everyone out there that celebrates it, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, because we will be back before that. So everyone out there, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Other than that, we will be back on Sunday. Until then, I am the Sports Sir Brad Walker. Peace.
Good night, folks.